try some wine. Hello, and welcome to Through the Wine Glass. I'm your host, Don Von Klon. Now today we are going to be tasting the Dr. ZenZen Late Harvest Spatlese. I will argue that my producers were originally going to select a different white wine, but, you know, production, there's lots of errors there. But before we get started, I would just like to say that I have a very special guest with me today. Yes, someone actually did show up. So, before we actually taste the wine in my nice new decanter, Lord V here is going to entertain us about the Dr. ZenZen wine.
Guten Tag, my great friends. This week's wine is Dr. ZenZen's prestigious Late Harvest Spatlese, all the way from the Rhine-Hessen region of Germany. The name Late Harvest simply implies that the wine was harvested later in the year, with matured grapes to give it a more fruitful and inviting taste. Many Rieslings are famous for their late harvest variations. The name Spatlese actually means late harvest, and the grapes for this particular wine are harvested at least a week later than the others. Most Spatlese are riper than the fellow Cabernet Rieslings, and are more intensely flavored with high levels of acidity and acute sweetness.
Oh, hello and welcome back. I hope Lord V was very informative. Now let's get to the tasting. Rieslings themselves are very sweet, and there's no one that do it better than the Germans. Now I'm originally from Austria, and my guest is from Germany, so we're quite affluent in Rieslings. Yes, very sweet and tangy. Now, you may find that other countries, such as the United States, up in, Washington, and Australia, they do Rieslings as well, but you really want to go for the German Rieslings because they are the best. I mean, that's basically what Germany is known for, are its Rieslings. And now a Spatlese is a certain type of Riesling. It ranks above Cabernet in their quality wines chart pyramid. The Spatlese is overly sweet, but it's not too sweet, and there are definitely levels of acidity. This one's very good. It's a very good sipping wine. However, I have had similar Rieslings that were less expensive and tasted kind of like this, but the Late Harvest is a big thing. It's the grapes that are matured later, so they're picked later, hence a later harvest. But yes, the Spatlese Late Harvest is very good, but I've had better, I suppose. Now, before I continue to chat my mouth off, I would like to pass it off to my guest, and then afterwards we will go to my final thought. Yes, thank you so much for having me on your show, Don Von Klon. It's a real big pleasure to be here, and I'm very glad you invited me, at last. Now, I was under the impression that we were trying Blue Nun this week, because I'm a nun. Blue Nun, I mean, you guys get it, but I guess not. We've actually switched over to this Dr. ZenZen Spatlese. Now, I am from Germany originally, and I lived for years in Russia, and you can't get a good Riesling in Russia. So, it's a nice change that I'm going to enjoy this Riesling with Don Von Klon here and give my own personal opinion. Now, the Spatlese is extremely sweet, but it's not overly sweet. And yes, you do get that very crisp, the crisp taste associated with Rieslings. But there's a lot of peachy, tangy apricot. Yes, a lot of that. And, well, the Late Harvest are grapes that are matured later. So they're, they're quite mature and they're very ripe, essentially. And, I've always been a big fan of Dr. ZenZen wines. So, my personal opinion is that this wine is extremely good. I would probably give it an 8 out of 10. It comes from a region where I used to live when I was just a little girl growing up in the Catholic Church. And yes, it's very good. Very good, yes. I highly recommend it. Thank you so much, Dawn, for having me on the show.
What an interesting wine. Your tongue is immediately brushed with peach and rich apricot flavors, with a high level of acidity. A nice, fruity finish welcomes your taste buds as you swallow. It's simple perfection in a glass. Elegant and richly yellow, this wine is perfect for sipping.
Hello and welcome to Don Bon Clon's Final Thoughts. Today we tasted the Dr. ZenZen Late Harvest Spatlese. And yes, it was very refreshing, very fruity, lots of peach and apricot flavors. It was a traditional German Riesling in that sense. If we take a closer look, we will notice that Dr. ZenZen is one of the best-selling wine brands from Germany in Canada. That's where we're located right now. Now, I would highly recommend anything Dr. ZenZen. I've had several of their other wines, including my favorite, which is called Two Colors. However, this one I've had a time before, and having it a second time around, I didn't really like it as much because I've had some other wines in that retrospect. And there's another good one, Carl Sittman makes a really good late harvest, and I'm just not too sure. I would probably give this one a 7 out of 10. I gave last week's wine, I do believe it was a 7 out of 10, or was it 8? I can't remember. But that shouldn't discourage you from going and buying Dr. ZenZen wines. I mean, they're very good. They were ranked like #1 in Western Canada for a long time. I'm not even sure if they still are. They probably are. But, I've just found something that I liked better. But this one is still very good, so, you know what? 7.5 out of 10. This one was a little more expensive, however, which is kind of an obstacle, but I guess when you really compare it, Dr. ZenZen has great quality. It comes from the Rheinhessen in Germany. It's a very good German wine. And I suppose in closing, 7.5 out of 10. It's a great German wine if you're into German wines. Very good sipping wine. It's overly excellent. So, that's about it. So I would like to thank you all for watching. I've been trying to get videos up every week, but, money is tight at Dawn's estate, and so is my schedule, for doing other things. So we're going to continue to try and do at least one a week, but it's probably going to be one every 2 weeks. So, and we're also trying to get the DVK network up and going. But for now, if you are into the 2050 show, you can go and watch the 2050 show because all of our videos are updated via their Facebook page right now. So go to facebook.com and look up the 2050 show and you'll find a lot of our videos, a lot of other videos dealing with, Cleo Shikibu, Edgar Pants, Lord V, all those awesome people, that I've been working with for a very long time. So yeah, remember to go to Facebook and like our page. But anyway, we'll see you probably next week or maybe the next week after. I don't have any insight into what kind of wine we're tasting. But yeah, see you next time.